Yo, what is good, everyone? Hope you guys are having a great day today. We got a few people on here. Let's do a quick sound check if you guys don't mind. Because I did with Rock, I thought I was live for like 10 or 15 minutes, and it turns out I was not. You know, so real quick, guys, if we could get a sound check before we get too far into it, that would be fantastic. And I want to say that the chat should be on. If it's not, then I screwed up. Cameron says sounds good. Great, appreciate that. Thank you. And hopefully the music's not too loud. Hopefully you can hear that. And then I'll get into my thoughts on the NASDAQ and the indices here now that we are heading into the afternoon session. So that would that'd be cool. And I asked on Instagram what you guys wanted to see more of. I got a mix of different answers: thoughts when in a trade, psychology, directional bias, and a couple of other things that only one or two people asked about, like the trade recordings and, you know, sped up videos and stuff like that. So we will see how it goes. Now, originally, earlier today, I canceled this order already, but originally I wanted a short at 12,120, and because I wanted to see if we would take this from 12,120 down to 12,048. So my original thought process from this morning was this, like right here. Okay, now I'm gonna take this off for just a minute. Like I'm just gonna screenshot this just in case this does pan out. That would be cool. Nice little before and after. But I have since then canceled this particular idea, so I don't have a order there at 12,120 and anymore. Okay, anymore. So the original thought process is we have some lows down here. Okay, very close lows about 12,048, and then a slightly higher low at 12,053. So when price aggressively ran lower, I'm going to take this off now, and on the way up somewhere in here, I actually sent that to my team. I wanted 12,048 to see if we would get there today. But then we got this movement here and this movement here, where now I have scratched the idea of 12,048, and we may end up trading higher. So that's why this orange box was here, because I wanted to see, and that question mark right here is for basically, if we get to this high, I want to see how we react at that particular high. So either we're going to jam through that, and this may end up becoming a mitigation to take us higher. But, you know, I'm looking how we traded within this right at the end of the lunch hour, just prior to the afternoon session, and I'm just not really confident it really in either direction, to be honest. At least not confident enough to put a trade on it. Now, the reason why I have switched my bias, I'll get into that. What's good, Ali Naruto? What's good? And my phone is charging over there, so, you know, I didn't really do all that much promotion and everything, but the schedule is still the same for now. But on Friday, I'm releasing a new schedule. Actually, if you look on my channel, it's in my artwork already. So for those of you that are watching, if you want to take a look at that, you'll pretty much know before everybody else, if that's something that you're into. So if you go to my channel and you look at the channel artwork at the top, you'll see like a yellow sniper and right below my name, you'll see the live futures analysis Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday 2 p.m. Eastern, Wednesday 2 p.m. Eastern, and Friday 1 p.m. Eastern. So what does that mean? That means I'm going to go live on here on YouTube 4 times a week. Okay, 4 times a week. Just to be on here more, to interact with you guys a little bit more. We can watch a lot more price action together and, you know, kick ass and take some names, you know. So hopefully you guys can appreciate that. And I'm just gonna turn this down just a little bit because I feel like that's really loud. This is the first jazz mix, actually. I was kind of tired of the lo-fi hip-hop, you know what I mean? So we switched it up and now we're on the jazz side. So pretty cool, pretty cool. I just put that in my calendar. I had no idea. I'm so excited. Yeah, I am too. And now Friday is the day where I'm going to announce that, like, on my Instagram, Twitter. I'll probably put that in the following Wednesday's email as well. So that should be fun. Yo, we're gonna fucking run this shit up, okay? Straight like that. You know, and I'm not gonna be apologetic about it at all. We're gonna be on YouTube. The Trade House presence is gonna be on YouTube. So there you have it. All right, now anyway, let's get back into it, because I know some of you might be watching this in the recording and you're like, you know, John, just get to it. Naruto just keeps getting better and better. Well, I hope so. I hope so. And I don't know why I didn't see that message, but I'll go over it. Any suggestions on building consistency and discipline? If I reach my monthly target in the first week of the month, how can I stop trading for the whole month? It's tempting. I agree, it is tempting, especially when you have reached your target early on. In the first week, if you've hit your monthly target, first thing that comes to mind is either number one, you have too small of a target, or number two, you have a decent target, but you either over leverage to get there, or maybe, and this is what I hope, but maybe you just took a really, really good trade. You know, I don't know which one of those 3 scenarios it might be. But what I like to do, if I know I'm done for either the day or especially the week, like if I'm done on Thursday for the week, one thing I do is log out. Okay, I will log out. Okay, so you can see that I'm not logged in any account at the moment. You know, I'm not in anything here, not even in the TradingView paper account, which I thought was here somewhere. Oh, here it is, the TradingView paper. See, I'm not even logged into that. So now obviously all it would do, all it would take is just to log back in and place a trade, of course, but you know, that's totally up to you. But as far as building discipline, I actually sent out an email a few weeks ago, because last week we talked about courage, and I actually discussed Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as well as Miss Rosa Parks, you know, and so that was cool. That was great. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that email. And then the week prior to that, we talked about 7 ways of improving discipline. So I would encourage you to check that out, or I don't think I can copy and paste into the chat because the chat is limited on the amount of text that you can put in there. But if you have not signed up for my email, okay, I send out free emails every Wednesday. I want to say, I need to double check this real quick. It might be in the description. Let me check. Let me check real quick. Okay, there you go. So if you go to the description, and you go down to that 3rd link, it says you can connect with me through social media here, and there's a beacons link. Okay, and that beacons link will take you to this page. Now you can obviously get merchandise, you can get my best-selling book on Amazon, and right here, that third option here is join mailing list. Okay, so if you go to that, all you got to do is put your email in here. That's it. Okay, so once you put that email in there, subscribe, you'll be subscribed to the emails. Okay, so that way you don't miss ones in the future. But discipline, you know, it's a lot to talk about. All right, but if I can get to that later, then I will do so. All right, now let me get back to the charts real quick. Okay, that was what I was hearing. Okay, because I don't know if you guys could hear me or not. I had both of them going, but okay. 12,048 was the original thought process, and the reason I changed that is because if you look at the S&P for a minute, okay, those, we didn't have the same lows on the S&P, but we did have a low at 655, which the S&P traded lower twice actually. Okay, or even that first time here, if you want to measure that, that's fine. Dow Jones, same thing, where that 655 low, we traded below that. Okay, so we have a lower low on Dow, we have a lower low on the S&P, but that same 655 low is here on the NASDAQ. We didn't trade below that. You see what I'm saying? We didn't trade below that. And there's that second run lower, but even that second run lower, we didn't get below that. Okay, so it's like, okay, maybe I'm wrong then, maybe we're under accumulation in here. Okay, so then now we can look at the smaller time frame lows here, and I want to say, if you look at them carefully, you can see it on your screen. Look at this low at 10:30 and 11:20. 10:30 and 11:20, we have a slightly lower low on the S&P. Okay, if you go to the Dow, we also have that slightly lower low. Was it at 11:20 or 10 or 11:10? I don't. 11:20. Okay, there we go. Well, even though you cut through that candle, it's still lower low. That's fine. NASDAQ, however, let me just make sure real quick. 10:30. Sorry. Okay, so if I'm like bothering you by switching charts all that much, just tell me to go slower and I will. But I like to be, I want to be in here fast and whatnot. So we actually have a higher low on the NASDAQ. So do you guys see that? Does everybody see that? What's good, Lars? So since we did not trade lower at the 9:40 time when originally the other indices went lower, the NASDAQ did not. So we got a little bit of a higher time frame divergence, or a little bit like larger divergence, and then we got that smaller time frame divergence here. So then what becomes the setup? And this is why I tried to start it as soon as possible, because this up candle here, excuse me, okay, we have a low, high, lower, low, and if this is accumulation, then this up candle we may want to pay attention to if we trade up and above that. I wanted to see like conviction, a really strong emphasis higher. It's kind of not all that great. It's kind of lethargic, you know, it's kind of boring, if you will. Okay, like especially this 1 minute time frame, like that's not what I wanted to see. But nonetheless, I don't move the markets, okay? You know, I don't tell them what to do. They tell me. So either way, we got a movement above that, and so immediately like 7 minutes ago we traded back into that. Okay, and if you want to draw a line there, you can. I just like the boxes because it's a lot easier. So like, to me, if I was convinced that this was going higher, that would have been a long. Okay, like we would be long right now is what I'm saying. Okay, now just like the risk disclaimer says, and just like the title of this video says, this is live analysis. Okay, I'm not telling you to press buttons. Don't live trade. Okay, and even if you're going to, at a minimum, don't trade with money you can't afford to lose. Okay, you can lose more money than you put into your account. Okay, futures can rip your face off. Okay, there is a lot of risk in futures trading. Okay, so just be very mindful of that. Be mindful. But so again, like I was saying earlier, for those of you that have not been here, I asked on my Instagram story what you guys wanted to see more content of, and a lot of you said thoughts when you're in a trades. A lot of you said trading psychology, or just psychology altogether, and directional bias as well. Directional bias. So it's hard to describe what the thoughts are when I'm in a trade, because sometimes it varies. If I have something going on in my personal life, like I need to clean my room or go outside today or journal in leadership, or I mean there's a number of things that could happen. If I'm thinking about those things, and that's obviously what's going to be on my mind. If I was in a trade right now, okay, like if we longed the mitigation with the stop probably at this low, that low right there, my target would be 12,189 and a half. And then obviously if we get there, depending on how fast we got there, I would actually bump that up to 12,200 even. So it would look something like that. That's a nice 1 to 3.5. Fairly tight stop. But you know, again, is the setup there? I think so. I just don't see the emphasis on the upside that I had wanted to see enough for me to take a trade on this. Okay, but I'm trying to be, you know, I'm trying to give you guys what you want. So if I was in this trade, I'd say, okay, my thought process would be, all right, we got a wick entry. Now I want to see price fucking run. Okay, I don't want to see it, and you know, pardon my language, I'm just, you know, you asked my thoughts. Okay, I want to see price run moon. Okay, and that's not an ego thing. It's just, look, if we're bullish, if we're under accumulation, if we've mitigated, price should not meander around. It shouldn't be lazy like me when I was in high school. You know what I'm saying? This thing should take off. It should take off. And if it doesn't, I'm wrong. Okay, if it doesn't, I'm wrong. So I'd probably give it a few more candles, right? If that was a wick entry, this nice up candle, we have a currently up close candle right now. So let's see if this thing wants to take off. Now, if I'm looking at the P&L, and you know, not that I should be doing this, because this is definitely a trading mistake, you know, according to Mark Douglas and a lot of what I teach as well. If I saw the P&L and we're booming, I might just take my stop, because you can't do this with the risk reward tool. But if my stop was down here and we're up like this, like right now, how we are right now, I'd say, okay, cool, I'm gonna go break even. Like if we entered at 115, I'd go like 16 and a quarter. So we're break even. So now there's no risk, right? Or if there is risk, it's been eliminated for the most part. Okay, because there's always risk if you're in an open trade. You know, you could get slipped, and there could be news that I don't know about. You know, there could be some shit that goes on in the world, and the markets may fluctuate and slip past your stop. That's always a possibility. So I'll have to rephrase that. There's like, you can go break even, but there's still a small chance that you could still take a losing trade on that. Okay, but my point is, psychologically, and again, you guys wanted psychology as well, I like going break even relatively quickly, because when I reduce risk, it just makes me, you know, less emotional, or at a minimum, at least start to reduce risk. Okay, like let's just say hypothetically we risked $100. I'd say, okay, we're going pretty good. You know, I might take it down to like 75 risk, or cut my risk in half and go well, we risked 100, now we're gonna bump the stop to only risk 50. You know, like I might do that as well. So it just depends. But some of those people who just take a trade and they just walk away, like whatever happens happens, that's just not the type of trader that I am personally. So, you know, I just don't do those things all the time. All right, but let me see. So do you guys get the broader perspective now? Like this whole idea here. Let me see. 12 to 3, there's your afternoon session. There's 2 to 3, so there's your last hour. And right now we're only 15 minutes into the afternoon session. So if we're going to go higher, then by the end of the day, I'd want to see 12,200. Okay. If not, then I'd be wrong. But again, you know, don't take this as a signal like, oh, retracement, I'm gonna go long. Okay, I'm not saying to do that. This is live analysis. Okay, please understand that. How am I doing today, dude? I'm good, man. I'm good. I got my teeth worked on last week. I ended up getting a ticket 6 months ago for not having car insurance. Long story behind that. So I had court on Friday. Showed up to court, and you know, they're like, oh, you gotta go see the judge. I'm like, ah, fuck. So I ended up going to the courtroom, and then I was sitting in there. Well, I checked in with some lady at the front desk or whatever. And then I sat down, and dude, I sat there for like an hour, dude. I was playing. I got so bored that I was on my phone playing Bloons Tower Defense. You know, you're not supposed to have a phone in the courtroom. I'm like, yeah, fuck them. Like, we're here, you know, whatever. So anyway, it was like an hour and 15 minutes had went by, and so this lady comes out, like one of the receptionist ladies at the front. There was like 3 of them, and you know, she called my name, so I went up there, and she was like, well, do you have insurance? I'm like, yeah, I bought insurance now and the next 6 months, like I'm good. She's like, okay, you know, let me go talk to the judge. So she came back, and she was like, okay, your case has been like moved another 6 months. She's like, so you got to come back in August. I'm like, fuck, man, you can't. I have insurance, bro. You can't just let it go, you know. So it's cool. So I didn't have to pay any fees. I wasn't like convicted of not having insurance. It's actually in Texas, the law or whatever is failure to maintain financial responsibility, whatever that is, which is by the way hilarious, because they charge you for that, right? It's like a $350 ticket for failure to maintain financial responsibility. How fucking ironic is that? Oh, you know, like say someone who's poor, for example. Okay, oh, you're poor, you don't have insurance. All right, now I'm gonna charge you money that you don't have. What type of shit is that? What type of shit is that? So, but anyway, the reason I didn't have insurance is because the car insurance that I had, they canceled it on me without my permission. So I had a lapse of coverage. And then so now that when I started shopping around for other insurance, everyone was like, oh, you have a lapse, so we're gonna charge you out the ass. And I'm like, bro, this is bullshit. You know, you're charging me like 3 times as much as I used to pay. I'm not fucking paying that. I'm not paying it. I'm not doing it. Yes, I have the money. That's not the point though. It's the principle of the matter. Okay, it's the principles. Oh, your insurance is cheap. Well, yeah, it's, you know, I want it to be cheap, damn it. And you want to like double it or triple what I pay? Pfft, no, that's a hell no, 1,000 times over. And I will gladly pay the ticket to do so. So, but anyways, you know, enough of my bullshit. We'll take a look at the dollar index really quick. and the indices, well, at least, I mean, we ran into this imbalance on the S&P. So we'll see. Looks like we're pulling back a little bit off of that. Dow Jones, same thing. There's an imbalance here that we traded into. NASDAQ is slightly different though. We're not really trading into those same imbalances, I don't think, because that was from 1010. So that 1010 candle is here. We're above that on the NASDAQ. You know what I'm saying? So we could trade, or not trade, but we could, price could come back down into this orange box here and then end up trading higher, possibly. Okay, now the reason I told you guys earlier about 12,120 being my original short, the reason being, now you can see why. Okay, look at this overall perspective here on a 15-minute. Don't look at that orange box that I have right here. Look at the overall. What do we do? High, low, higher, high, and we absolutely dominated through that. And then here's this down candle here. See that? So right there ends up being a mitigation, potential mitigation. So we ended up trading at the higher end of that and starting to sell off a little bit. So that was the original idea. Again, consolidation, we ran up, slam down, and then a retracement into a mitigation to potentially go lower down to 12,048. Okay, now again, that was prior to this happening down in here. So to me, it just seems a little bit less of a probability to go short. If we're going to short, it's usually on an asset that is going to be the strongest, not the weak, or the weakest, not the strongest. I don't know if I said that correctly. If we're going to short, we want to short the weakest asset. If we're going to long, you want to long the strongest asset. Okay, so if NASDAQ is our strongest asset, we may not want to be shorting that. Okay, so that was kind of the idea. So we'll have to see how this ends up panning out. So to me, if we end up just ripping ass to the downside and we end up taking these lows, I mean, I would be highly convinced 12,048 would still be on the table for today. Okay, so that's just, again, what I'm watching. And since I don't have a high conviction, I'm just not placing a trade on it. I canceled the short, but I'm not confident enough to actually take a long position. Okay, well, what do you guys think? Can you take a look at the dollar? For $1, you know what I mean? Actually, you can't donate yet because I haven't passed the watchhours for monetization, so it's cool. Dollar actually has equal lows, if I'm not mistaken, on a 15-minute time frame. So right around 104.20. Nice. Then you know, we've got some equal lows down in there. British pound don't have equal highs, but obviously it's been fairly bullish recently. And then the euro, we swept a high at 7, or from 7 on the 23rd, and we swept that and retraced, but I wasn't confident enough to short either euro or British pound because the dollar has lows down in here. So if the dollar ends up running lower, right, like that, and then look at this setup too. I totally missed this because this was that was at 5 a.m. This was at like 7 a.m. So I was just now waking up at the time. But look at this: high, low, higher, high, break structure to the downside, came up into those down candles there. There's a mitigation, rip ass, retracement to the upside. And so if this does continue lower, 104.420 could be a possibility. So, you know, those 420 levels always just coming up, man. They're just always there, you know. I don't know what's going on with that. Got EU and AU, EU and AU, Aussie. Australian dollar. Mm. I wouldn't short these markets either. I mean, it almost makes sense. You would think like, oh, we took liquidity and then broke structure. Well, retracements we should short. Not necessarily. Not every high that's like, not every higher high is going to be a reversal. You know what I mean? See, like, look at this. See this higher high? We swept that and then traded lower, but then we traded right up and above that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to pay attention to which highs and which lows that you know, you think is a liquidity sweep or a liquidity run or something like that, you know. Use the correlation you talked about in your book for longs this morning. Oh, nice. For Australian dollar with New Zealand, with Australian dollar and New Zealand, or for the euro? Because I cannot tell, brother. Yeah, you'll definitely have to let me know. Matter of fact, I think you can put the chart in the chat. See if you can do that, and I'll pull that up. I want to see it. I want to look at it. Compared AU and NU and EU to GU. Okay. Well, show me your analysis if you don't mind. Marco. Flexing setups, you know what I mean? That's awesome. That is awesome. Can we see British pound long term? So daily time frame. Listen, I'm not always the best on a daily time frame, all right? I'll tell you that. I think 1018 and a half or 118, I think that could be on the table long term. This low 118.40, and then below that euro, very, very similar. And this is why, because we have this low on the euro. I mean, we've absolutely dominated to the downside. And then with that being said, a high on the dollar. Okay, so euro and British pound, you know, they're going to be very closely correlated, but that comes from, or part of that analysis comes from the dollar index. So even though like today's a down day, that still doesn't like change the bias that we may be overall bullish for the dollar index, which would mean bearish euro. And then so including that on like a loose correlation, British pound. Does that make sense? So, you know, would I go in like right now and short? Not necessarily. I would see what we do with those lows on the dollar at that 15-minute time frame. See what we do from that, like down here. If we do end up going down there, you know, depending on what we do from there. And then, so obviously if the dollar is bullish, if we get that, if we get evidence of a bearish euro and a bearish British pound, there's actually divergence here a little bit, then that is likely when I would want to go in there and start looking for shorts. Does that make sense? Margot says I'm at work. Well, don't get in trouble at work. You know what I mean? Don't let me be the reason you get in trouble. But real quick, guys, you know, if you've liked the video, if you got some value so far, make sure to like the video and to subscribe if you aren't already subscribed. If you don't have me on Instagram, my only Instagram is at John Fibonacci. And I don't know why I didn't have my social medias up here. I guess I must have forgot that. There it is at the bottom right of your screen. My Instagram, my Twitter, and my YouTube, pretty much all the same, is at John Fibonacci Street, like that. I would greatly appreciate it. To help get on the algorithm, to help get in front of more people. You know what I mean? Get some more viewers, get some more subs, and all that. So the afternoon session, the last 30 minutes has been very just slow. I mean, we haven't really done a lot, you know, at least in the last, again, the last 30 minutes or so. We haven't done a lot. We did have some, I don't think there was news at 9:35, but I think there was a speech this morning. I'd have to double check that, but I was watching this and I almost went short. I almost did, but you know, I didn't like the setup. I wanted to see distribution, which I was looking at the 3 indices. I just didn't see it, so I just didn't take the setup, but we ended up just dumping lower. So I was like, all right, missed it. So if we are going to get a reversal, great, but you know, we just haven't done a lot the last 30 minutes. And another thing too is the ETFs. This morning I was also a little bit hesitant to short because I thought that we may end up taking the high from the 23rd this morning, because we got very close. I figured, well, if I short and then have a stop above this high, then it's going to come and take me out and then go lower. That was the thought process. Now, we didn't get that, obviously, but that was, again, the thought process of that idea. So that was what made me a little bit hesitant to short. Dow, very similar story. I thought we were going to run up above that high. We didn't. And we traded back down and into the gap that we created at the open. Triple Q's close, but not really. We still got closest, and we got that gap up and we traded back down into the gap, but that high we made at 905, it wasn't even close to the high of the 23rd. So we're kind of just in the middle of this range right now, but you can still see that same mitigation that I'm talking about. See this? See, like right here, low, high, lower, low. We traded above that, and then this up candle here. So we've tapped into that quite a number of times at 1205, and then again the last 15 minutes. So like if I was in an entry at right here, obviously if you listen to what I said earlier, I'd go break even, so I'd be out break even already. If I'd never had moved my stop and I was still in this, I would be very impatient, because I'm like, shit, we're just chilling around at the entry. I don't care for that. I don't like that, because the longer we spend at the entry, the more that it tells me that I might be wrong. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what I'm used to. Okay. How do you set up trading view to show lines of the big figures and mid figures? So it's not that. It changes obviously if you warp it, but a good friend of mine who actually taught me quite a bit about trading a really long time ago. He's actually the reason I use the orange box. He doesn't use the orange box for what I use it for, but I got a couple of things from him. One of them is the orange box, and then another one is actually these horizontal lines. So what you do is you go into your chart settings. If you go to appearance, the vertical lines, the opacity is 0. I don't want to see vertical lines. I'll draw my own vertical lines if I want to see that. Now the horizontal grid lines is going to be the gray above the first green, or really the only green, and the opacity currently is at 14%. Because, you know, if it's too dark like that, that's very distracting. That's too much, you know, it's too much. 50% is still kind of rough, and so for whatever reason that 14% is just what I had it on. So that's how you get that. So it's subtle, but it's not distracting. So it's subtle enough to go, okay, are we at an imbalance? I can look to the right to see if we're at like a whole level or something like that. And that's kind of what it's for. So you want to see it if you want to, but you don't want it to be like blatantly just there. You know, I don't want it to be distracting per se. Okay. So deep, well, not deep, but decent retracement off of that imbalance. Not bad. Not bad, know what I'm saying? So yeah, so now if we look at it right now, it's right at that 50% of the mitigation. Does that make sense? So something like that. Okay, so you're basically looking at the 50%, its price is respecting that. So this to me is like the last stop. Like if I was bullish and let's say I got out break even, but now it's respecting 50%, there is a small chance that I'd re-enter probably at the open of the next candle. Does that make sense? Now, again, please understand, I'm not pulling the trigger on this and I'm not saying to do this. But if I believed that this was it, we're gonna have to wait for the close, give it another minute. But what I'm saying is, if I really believe that this was it, if the next candle opens and trades down, I would long that on the way down. Same original stop here. I don't even know what that is. 2092. Okay. And then that same target. 12,200. Which is a nice 1 to 3.5. Okay. But again, that's if I believed. And I don't. Okay. I don't. But matter of fact, I tell you what we'll do. We'll watch this. Okay. So like this candle, I would long if we traded below. Like if this candle forms like a down candle, like that's what I would long. And then go like, I would want it to go up from here. Like say right now, that's what I would long. Okay. Like right now is what I'm saying, like as if I would do that. Okay. But again, please do not trade this. Please do not put on a fucking trade. Okay. Do not long the NASDAQ. That's what I'm telling you. Okay. We're watching price. We're studying price. And I'm just trying to give you some thoughts. Okay. My thought process and stuff like that. Okay. We're not here to try and grow the accounts and stuff like that. Okay. So please, please understand. Chart looks like Dutch cheese. Which chart are you talking about? I don't even know what Dutch cheese is. Can't drop the chart. Marco, send it to my Instagram. How about that? Can you do that? We're gonna take this off of here because I don't want you guys thinking that I'm longing that. Ninth lesson favorites. I took this. Oh, very nice. Very nice. I got some requests as well. But yeah, if you have time to send it to my Instagram, please do that. We'll take a look at it. Because again, my phone is still over there, so I'm not, I gotta pull up Instagram on my computer. Use the Instagram app to view this type of message. Are you fucking kidding me? Use the Instagram app to view this. Why the fuck do you have a website that we can go on, but I gotta use the app to view the message, bro? These social medias, man. Golly. That is crazy. Anyways. We'll watch this for a little bit. We'll take this off now because we don't need that anymore because we've already been there. And again, this lethargic Just, it ain't good. Okay. No, Lars, that's what I'm saying. I'm on the website and Instagram told me to use the app. What type of shit is that? I should screenshot that. And I would show you, like, because I can't show you my inbox obviously, but I want to like screenshot that specific message. Following scale level, no. I try to get someone to code a indicator that does this for you, the horizontal lines for you, and ended up not happening. So, you know, there's that. Okay. So if we had put on a trade, which I fucking told you not to do, if we had put on a trade and our stop was here, it looks like we would likely get stopped as of right now. It's trading into this down candle here, which I'm not saying is an institutional candle or whatever other various names they got for this. I'm not saying that I would long that. I'm just saying we're trading into that, but it looks as if that low is going to be taken. So this is an interesting spot because we have a down candle and this is like the lower end of the mitigation. Does that make sense? So again, I want to see how we close from that, and I want to give this a little bit more time too, because I am interested to see if my original thought was right, where 120 was short down to 1248. That was the original idea, and if we do end up doing that, it won't be bad, but you know, I pulled the order already, so it's like you're not in anything, you know. But it's cool. Couldn't answer your poll because I refused to download the app. Naruto thinks Big Brother is watching on Instagram. It's cool. No big deal. What makes more sense to look for manipulation after New York Stock Exchange or before? So interesting question. Their manipulation occurs before and after. Not always, but you'll see manipulation pre-market, especially if there's like news or something, and then you'll also see it a lot of times afterward. And this is what you guys got to study. This is what I'm trying to tell you to study. 830 is here. Okay, so there's your open, right? We dropped down and then ran up above a previous high from 750. I don't know what happened at 730. There might be some news there, likely, but I don't know. I didn't check. Okay, so we ran up above that high, and I don't think we traded into anything else, unless I just missed it. There's like an imbalance right here. Look at the bodies on that. Look at the bodies on that. Boom, respects that. But anyways, retracement, up candle, and then we dump, you know. But yeah, so that was like a pre-market high, and then we didn't run that until after the stock exchange opened. So what I like to mark up, and this is why I had my indicator made, is the stock exchange open, right? So we shorted, if we short, it would be above the open, or if we longed, we would want to long below the open. Okay, so right now it looks as if price says, nah, this isn't going to be a mitigation to go long. Then I'm thinking back to my original idea of that 15-minute time frame, wanting to go to 1248. That's still my thought process. And again, I could be wrong. We could end up still trading higher. Okay, I'm not convinced in either way enough to take a trade. So I just want to make sure that that is clear. Okay. I just prefer to make it more difficult to use Instagram to spend less time on it. I have to type in my password every time just to add additional steps to not mindlessly being on it. No, that's good. That's good, man. I like that idea. Unfortunately, given the path that I have been requested to be on, you know, to educate and teach and inspire and all that. I don't have that luxury. Okay, I don't have that luxury. I have to be on social media. I have to, you know, because, you know, even people like Ryan Holiday, you know, they say, oh, take a break from social media, stay off of it for like a week, all that stuff. I can't do that. I have too many students. I have, you know, too many things to do. And so I got to be there for the people. When you get into a service, right? When you want to serve people and you make that decision, you have to stick to it. We're just going to put this back up here. You have to stick to it. What's good, Willow? I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you. You can set a time limit. Yeah, you can. Well, there's apps that do that too. So like the app will boot you off the other apps because it's like, oh, you've hit your, you know, 30 minute limit or whatever. When I was a kid, my grandma used to do that too. She's like, you get one 30-minute episode and then you gotta, you know, do something else. So I'd watch like SpongeBob or, you know, whatever cartoon was on at the time. And then after that, she's like, yeah, you're done. You gotta either, we're gonna watch what she wants to watch, or I have to just do something else, which a lot of times wasn't bad. You know, she would watch like Judge Judy. I enjoyed Judge Judy, just so you know. It was cool. But she would just want to watch what she would watch. So that's how I got into that. Let's have the manipulation, a minimum account of pips under a low or high that you can be safely. It is manipulation. So Marco, great question. I usually like to, in Forex, like for the euro or British pound, I like to measure 5, 10, 15, 20. If it's a more British pound's a little bit more volatile, so it's probably going to be near 15 or 20, sometimes 30. If it's an exact measurement like that, then yeah, I go, okay, that's probably a you know, run on stops or whatever. And I do that a lot too on the S&P, for example. So it's kind of hard to show you an example here. Let's take these two. Okay, let's take these two highs right here. What I'm talking about is this one and this one. Okay, so when you study this, measure how many points it traded above this high. Okay, that was about 8. So to me, I would round down to 5. Okay, so there's your 5, and it ran 5 points above that, and then obviously just died. Okay, this low, same thing, about 9. So to me, 5 points below that low puts you about right there. So sometimes it doesn't always nail the high or nail the low exactly, but then this is why I incorporate other things like zeros, 20s, 50s, and 80s, because up in here, let me see, you have 35. It doesn't tap 35. It does tap 32. That's a little bit higher than that. And then this low down in here, it does hit 75, which is a quarter level right there. See what I mean? So study those types of things, and not just like previous session or previous highs and stuff, even like intraday, like this morning low here. Go see how much that ran that low by. 6. So if we round down, 5 points below that is right there. Oh shit, that was 85. I called that out the other day. 39.85. That's in the YouTube video, on my most recent video. We were watching this run lower at 39.90, and then I said I want 39.85. We didn't get that till the afternoon, but look how close that was at the low of the day, and then we hit the reversal button on that, and that's why that low -5. Boom, there it is. Look at this previous high here at 6:30. So that's a pre-market high. How much did we trade above that? I don't know, 5.5. So there's 5 points above it. Look how fucking precise that is, bruh. 5 points above the high, boom. 5 points below the low, boom. It's pretty cool if you ask me. Now it's not always gonna do that. It's not always gonna be that clean per se, because you'll scroll back and you'll find days like this, and you'll go, wait a minute, John, this didn't even run five points. It only ran 2 or 3. Well, yeah. You know, it's not always gonna be perfect, bro. So that's one thing I did, you know. You gotta not take it with a grain of salt, but you just gotta study it and look at it for what it is. Measure these types of things. Okay. But great question, by the way. So now we're just watching. Still haven't had any real significant movements in one direction, and by significant I mean stuff like this, like what we did this morning. That was fun to watch, even though I wasn't in a short. That's still fun to watch, because like even on a 1 minute, bro, oh yeah, it's just like slams down and continues. Like that's fun, you know, super fun. But now I don't like it. Price is kind of stuck. But I've got an alert there, 12:48. So whenever we get off the stream, because I don't think I'll go until 3 o'clock today. But I'll have that alert there. So if I'm away from the computer or if I'm reading, I'll hear that dun dun dun, and then I'll go, oh, what happened? And we'll take a look. Let me see. Do you have a baby picture of you? I do. I will show you on Friday, because it's in the other room. I gotta take a picture and then upload it and then save it and then show, like, it's a lot of shit, but I can show you. It's usually it's usually the women who look at my baby pictures and my younger pictures and they go, yo, who the fuck is that? You know, I'm like, that's me, bro. What do you mean? So, you know, I guess I must have fell off. I don't know. I must have fell off. Been working on the online store and zoned out. I gotcha. I want to watch SpongeBob. Oh, she did watch SpongeBob. She let me have as many snack cakes as well. The Little Debbie snack cakes. I used to eat as many of those as I wanted. Oh shit. Good times. Rest in peace to the grandma on my dad's side. Can you spot where the most liquidity is? So it depends on which type of liquidity that you are talking about. So you have retail liquidity, and then you have what, at least what I refer to as institutional grade liquidity. Okay. So obviously, like on an intraday time frame, there's going to be like retail liquidity. Now on a daily time frame, okay, stuff like this, that December high, that's going to be like institutional liquidity here. Okay, so for areas of liquidity, there's a lot. There's session highs and lows, previous days highs and lows, previous week highs and lows, previous month high and low, and then obviously like daily and weekly, and it scales up from there. Okay, so hopefully you you know, listen to that, because I really just I really just gave you some juice, and I usually don't try to say things like that, but that's a good list to have, just so you know. Well, It did come down to that candle. Never hit that low though. Respected it. Now we're back up and into that original 15-minute mitigation. So again, no confidence. I'm not bullish, I'm not bearish. I really don't know. I really don't know. Dow back into that imbalance. S&P back into that imbalance and hitting this up candle as well. So we'll see what we do from there. And it's spent quite a lot of time at this 4,000 level too. One of you brought up whole numbers a little bit earlier today. It spent a lot of time there today. A little bit this morning. Well, excuse me, pre-market. A little bit pre-market, a little bit more this morning, and then a little bit in this afternoon too. See, that's when whole numbers to me are not your favorite, or not my favorite. When we spend a lot of time around like that, I don't like it. But you can just see like that price does respond and react to these types of levels. Okay. So what we may end up doing, if the indices are bullish from here, we may end up trading back up into this imbalance that was created earlier in the day. Because look at it. Like this business right here, that to me, it just, you know, screams imbalance price action. Okay. I don't know if, well, that was on a 1 minute. So the 5 minute is a little bit different, and it's a little bit larger. There's a little bit more emphasis on that. But there's that. Dow, even worse. Like, look at these candles, and Dow is always like never down. Like, you never hear, oh, the Dow was so clean today. Like, I hardly ever say that. I hardly ever hear that too. The Dow is just not what you want as far as when it comes to clean price. Because like, what the fuck is this, dude? No wick up there, no wick on both of those. Like, that's horrendous. Now, mind you, these are the micros, so I get that. But even like the E-mini, there's no wick right there. And again, I still think that ends up being a pretty large imbalance. So that price, again, may want to trade up and into. Okay. Not a bad last 15 minutes. Oh, we're at a new hour as well. Now we're at 1 o'clock. So we're 1 hour into the last 3 hours of the stock exchange, at least. So that's cool. Just seeing you live. Will this whole session be uploaded to YouTube later? Yes, all of the live sessions are saved. They're recorded and saved under the live tab. Now, some of them are long, you know, a couple of them are like 3 hours, you know. I don't expect people to watch that, but here you have it. Okay. See, like, we're live like right now. So this is the video that we're currently on, and that's where it's at. So you have the home, my most recent video, that 38 or 39.85, where I wanted to see that, and then right here, okay, under the live playlist, recently uploaded, then you have these, and there you go. And for those of you that have not been here, when I said this earlier, on Friday of this week, I'm officially like going on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm putting out this brand new schedule. Monday at 1 Eastern, Tuesday at 2 Eastern, Wednesday at 2 Eastern, and Friday at 1 Eastern. Okay, we're gonna be going live 4 times a week. All right, 4 times a week, right here. right here on YouTube. Okay. Yeah, so Willow, I don't know if you saw that earlier because I think you came in a little bit late, but now I'm reminding you and letting you guys know. Okay. But great question, Lewis. Appreciate that. That way other students can get the answer to the question too. How can we evolve the winning attitude in trading? Man, attitude is hard, especially if you're taking a lot of losses. But I got a video coming out for that too. But it's really just about liquidity. But you know, I should put that out within the next few days. I got to record it. I've got the PowerPoint and everything. I just got to actually record it and edit it. So we'll see if I can do that a little bit later. But a winning attitude is hard, man. If you haven't like taken some wins before, and if it were me, I would just stack up small wins, dude. We talk, or I think it's Atomic Habits by James Clear, talks a lot about habits. He talks about habit stacking, and I think one of the ideas, I'd have to go back and make sure this is a correct reference. I'm just going off the top of my head here, but I'm pretty sure to get momentum, right, you need to set small goals, get those small goals under your belt, and that's going to create that momentum to get larger or medium goals and then larger goals. And when you're able to actually take wins, get some wins under your belt, that's going to help fix your attitude. You know, gratitude's a big thing as well. My fucking journal's over there. But, you know, I have, see if I can blow this up for a second. We're still watching price, but I'll just blow this up for a minute. Okay. I've been lacking the last couple of days. I'm not gonna lie to you, but you know, I have the daily Stoic journal, which I write in all the time. So I want to practice gratitude, get ideas, you know, and stuff like that. And I'll show this one more time, just in case you want to take a screenshot or something like that. The Daily Stoic Journal by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman. Okay. And a lot of those types of things will help fix your attitude. You know, what do they say? Attitude of gratitude, you know, something like that. One of those cliche things that all the personal development gurus talk about, right? But it's true though. You know, you got to have a winning attitude and a winning mindset. But it's easier to get that when you actually take some wins. You get some fucking dubs under your belt, you know? But be grateful for whatever you may have, you know? So hopefully that helps. Listen to audios in my sleep, not gonna lie. Well, hopefully you're not subconsciously programming yourself to cuss like I do. You know, it's difficult, man, to like not. I was in the Navy and that was just horrendous. I mean, oh man, you would judge me if you knew some of this shit I used to say. You know, and then even before that, like in high school and middle school, I was cussing all day, every day too. So it's very, very difficult because I've been doing that for so long. So apologies if you're offended. Okay. Seven needs to come back and live. Really enjoyed that. Yeah, I agree. I gotta get, well, dude, I'm gonna be going live 4 times a week, so I'm gonna be open for anyone to come on here. When, I mean, not anyone, of course, but you know what I mean. Like, I want to get some funded traders on here. I want to get some students on here. You know, Siv, I'll bring him back. Rock, I'll bring him back. Jenna, we'll have to get her back on here as well. You know, but I don't control other people's schedule. You know, we'll have to see. 1,000 thanks, everyone. Don't forget to click oh yeah, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you aren't already subscribed to get on the algorithm. Did that work? Oh, there you go. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. I appreciate that. And if you're not following me on Instagram already, it's at John Fibonacci, just like it says at the bottom right over there. So yeah, really appreciate that. Willow says, my attitude really improved when my journaling improved. When my journaling improved, my results improved. Created a mini positive feedback loop. See, that's great. That is great. That's really awesome. And that's what I like to hear. That is what I like to hear. Well, So coming back to what we talked about earlier, if we had taken that trade from earlier, remember I told you about like that next candle, we would long it on the way down with our original stop at here. Okay, obviously that got very, very close to the stop. I actually thought that was going to get tagged. Now price has made a higher high. Okay, now if our original target was 12,200, this is not a bad reaction. Okay, if it was me, again, which is not, I am not in a live trade, I'm not saying to trade this or anything, but what I'm saying is if I was in this, I would monitor this imbalance if we come back into it. Does that make sense? And I don't know why I changed the colors, and I didn't mean to do that, because I always liked it to be gray. Okay, that's better. I like that. I like that. So that's what I'd be watching. I'd say, okay, if I'm still confident in the long, I want to see if we tap into that and then hit the rocket ship. You know, SpaceX, boom. See if we get up there. So if we talked about like re-entering or adding to a position, then it would be like that imbalance minus like a point, probably a stop at this low, and we'll just do that low. That's fine. And then again, that 12,200 target. So then that is like something that I'd be watching for. Make sense? I'd say, okay, cool. Well, if we're bullish, all right, that next retracement, we might have something there. So I'll leave this up here. I'm going to take this off now. So now all we have, we're going to take opening. Oh, that's the mitigation. I thought that was my indicator for a minute. I'm like, why is that stuck? Okay, never mind. We're good. So what is the idea behind framing like a brand new trade like that? Again, everything I discussed earlier. So divergence on the larger time frame, one on the smaller time frame, and then this down candle was respected. Bullish order flow. So if we have a retracement, 120 to 20 level there too. So I would definitely watch out for that. I want to see if that gets traded into. And that's still a 1 to 3. So that, you know, that would be a go in my, you know, opinion. Okay. But this is just analysis. Don't pull the trigger. If you know, want to study price and watch it and learn from it, it's a lot harder to learn from it, I think, when you're in a trade personally, because if you're not, you know, if your emotions are out of whack, that's what you're going to be worried on or focused on, or you're going to be focused on P&L and stuff like that. And I think that takes away from what is the market doing, is, you know, the order flow respecting the concepts that we've outlined and stuff like that, you know. So hopefully that makes sense. It took me really putting respect on the whole journaling process to start seeing breakthroughs. As a breakthrough came, or as the breakthroughs came, the naturally felt good, which also helped with discipline. I like W's, not L's. Well, yeah, nobody likes L's, man. No, nobody likes L's. So we do what we have to do. Now I'm watching this only on one screen. I don't have my other one pulled up like I usually do. But I would outline some of these levels here on Dow just to see if the market actually comes back into that. So we have a lack of wick right there. And let me really zoom in on that. Okay. Just to see if there was like any gaps or anything like that. We have one there and there. And then we have one way up there too. Matter of fact, that actually ends up being a gap. That's what I was looking for at the bottom, but didn't see it down here. Okay. So I'd definitely watch out for that today. For the down. So 33,050, 33,058, very close. And then if we end up dominating to the upside, 33,150 if we're rounding up. So again, just study that. See if price ends up running into that. If we do end up getting further price action to the upside, I'd watch that and just see if that lands. See if price lands up in there. Here's that 1 minute imbalance that we talked about for the S&P. That just that 1 minute inside of the 5 minute. So we'll see if that hits, and the NASDAQ. We'll see if that hits too. But I will say it is easier to watch one at a time than it is to try and watch all three at the same time. And I don't want to confuse people that come on here and look at the stream. Make sense? So I tell you what, if price comes down to 12,120, I would take a screenshot and see. Now, I've only marked up to 12,120 level. The entirety of a potential imbalance is that. Okay, so if this trades down and starts trading like in closing below the lower end of that, that wouldn't be good. At least like for that long idea. But at the end of the day, I don't know. If I was confident, I'd tell you. Like the other day, right? I was confident, so I recorded that video. Because usually when I'm that confident, I go, yeah, this bitch is finna run. It's finna run. You know? But I'm not getting that same vibe here from NASDAQ for the upside. So that's why I'm not like putting an actual trade on. Okay. Gotta go. Wish everyone here a wonderful day. See you, Lars. Have a good one. See you later. All right, so let's see. Thoughts when in a trade. We covered some of that. Psychology. We did talk about that a little bit. Directional bias. Directional bias comes down to higher time frame. You know, higher time frame like weekly, daily. And then going down into the smaller time frames, aligning the smaller time frame with the higher time frame. Okay, so the higher time frame gets you that directional bias, and I pretty much use the same concepts on the lower time frames as the higher time frames. Now, depending on how high of a time frame you go, like on a macro perspective, then that's when you would get into like open interest, seasonality. I don't really look at COT. I never really found COT to be all that beneficial for me personally, so I don't use it. But I do like seasonality. Open interest isn't bad, and that usually just aligns with the contract closes anyway, or the contract rollovers, whatever, expiry really. But yeah, seasonality is a pretty big one. And then relative strength, of course. And yeah, liquidity, of course. But yeah, so hopefully that has answered some questions that you guys have had. And any more are welcome if you guys have them. They're welcome. So if we are bullish, we should see higher pricing from here. And there's one more thing that I'm looking at. There is some confluence here at this level. Like where we are right now, there is some confluence. So if we trade lower, I think the bias for longs would be negated. And depending on how we trade lower, if we do, 12,048 may still be on the table for today. But notice one thing, and see, this is where my accuracy goes down a little bit. Okay, well, actually quite a bit. Look where price is at in relevant to two price targets. We have the lows down in here, and we have this morning's high, right? So this low up to this high. Look where price is at. It's right at that 50%. So my accuracy when price is at 50% levels like that, okay, my accuracy goes down. Or even from this high down to this low, okay, it's roughly at 50%, you know, give or take a little bit, okay? So for that reason, I don't like it. You know what I mean? And that's just how it is. When price is near 50%, if we have two targets, because we can make the case for longs, depending on what we do, we can make a case for shorts. So if I can, you know, frame an idea for both directions, that's not a high probability trade. You could still take a winning trade, of course, and this thing could fly up and I could be like, yeah, you know, look at that. But it's not like a lopsided idea where, oh, liquidity was taken and we have equal highs and we have, you know, a divergence that shows accumulation for longs. Like that would be one-sided. This to me doesn't seem very one-sided. Okay. And so where price is right now, still within that imbalance. And we're just kind of chilling in there. Does the fact that the divergence happened during lunch mean anything? So, yes. You'll see times where it forms during lunch and then price reacts. You'll see other times where it forms during lunch. It'll react a little bit and then continue lower. You know what I mean? So this is why, and I had mentioned this a few minutes ago about top-down analysis, about, or well, we talked about directional bias, but I basically said align lower time frames with higher time frames. So if you're bearish but you get a bullish divergence, that negates the idea to me. Whereas if we're bearish and then we rally and get like a bearish divergence, which we don't have, at least not in like a short term. What I mean is like these recent highs, like these two highs right here, NASDAQ has a higher high, S&P has a higher high, and the Dow has a higher high. So like to me, that's not a divergence that is bearish. You know what I mean? I want to say the Dow actually did come back into this candle here from this morning. So it is obviously showing a reaction off of that. And then with that being said, so you see how I mentioned earlier, if we trade down and below that, and if we close below that, that may negate the idea for longs. So days like today, Monday, I wouldn't do anything. Like with this here today, I wouldn't do anything. I'd wait till tomorrow. Or I'd wait till the last hour and see what we do. Because I feel like if we're going to get a movement, whether it's lower or higher, I think it'll be probably the last hour is what I'm guessing. So, but you know, the lunch hour, it can be tricky. Sometimes it's very clean, sometimes it's not. But I would say 90% or more of my trades are executed after 12 o'clock or prior to like 10. Like if I'm gonna do the morning session, if it's 10:30 or later, it's too close to lunch for me. I go, nah, I'm cancel that idea. So anywhere from like, and I'm usually not up at 7:30, but anywhere from 7:30 up to about 9 or 9:30 is all right for the morning session, but I'm usually not up for that. So I prefer afternoon trades. I like to see what the morning has done, see if we've manipulated price or set up lows or something that the afternoon may want to take. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just going to take this off for a minute. And just looking at this, I want to see where we close on this candle. That's just what I'm watching. Make sense? We have some highs here as well, which is interesting how we left that there. So some kind of equal highs on the NASDAQ, slightly higher on the S&P, and slightly higher on the Dow. That's a little interesting. On a small time frame, that is a little interesting. And I'm trying to move the chart where you guys can see everything without, you know, my face covering it. Because I can see my chart, but I can't tell where my camera is at. And I'm hungry too, man. Did y'all get lunch already? I didn't eat before we started. Kind of thirsty too, because I've been talking, but I'm more hungry than anything. Matter of fact, we haven't looked at the ETFs in a minute either. If you take that same range that we did earlier, from this high down to this low, I mean, we're not close to 50%, but look how we consolidated down in there at that 50%. And we've came off of that, but someone did mention extreme areas earlier. So I'm not entirely sure like what that entails, but I would say when we run like a previous high, like we have a high and then like a higher high, when we've left consolidation, we've ran retracement and ran again, like that to me is an extreme area. So like for the S&P, for example, today would have been a lot better, in my opinion, if we left equal lows here. Equal lows to me would have been a beautiful downside target. Marco tuned in during lunch. Willow's hungry. Naruto's a Greek salad at the start of the session. You're about to eat dinner. Prime's gonna eat dinner. What time is it for you? Dude, I remember the first time I had a Greek salad. I was a kid. I had a really good friend of mine who we used to go to Greek festivals, you know, and which was really fun. Greek festivals, we had man, I forgot what they're called, but they're like shish kebabs, you know. There was wine. I was fucking underage, but we had wine, Good times, dude. But anyway, I had a Greek salad one time, and I want to say there's olives in Greek salads, but I thought it was a fucking grape, you know? I'm like, oh, that's a grape. Boom. And like, bro, I don't like olives, man. I don't like olives. So I ate it and I was like, oh shit. You know? It's probably why I'm traumatized from olives still. You know? But anyway, let me get back to what I was saying. When you have consolidation and then you run, price retraces, and it has like another run like that, this to me is an extreme area, especially if there's something on the higher time frame, which to me, I don't really know, but like let's say there was a distinctive high here and we're above that, price is overextended to the upside, it's trading above a previous high and an area of liquidity, great. I'm going to take all this off. Okay. Right? So then when you look at it, retracement, rally, retracement, rally, retracement. Okay, so this is now broken down twice. And there's an imbalance right here. And this is what I was watching and I didn't take it because I wasn't confident enough to take that trade. But there's an imbalance. We wick into that and then we just absolutely dominate to the downside. Whew. Below this low. Like that would have been one and done for the day. And depending on how much you leverage, maybe the week. I don't know. I'll leave that up to you. But that to me is like an extreme area because look how overextended price is when it's here. Like look at that. Consolidation, rally, retracement, imbalance, rally. And then we come back into the range. So that to me is a extreme area. Okay. But anyways, well, price is respecting the lower end of that imbalance, but we have not had any large range candles yet. Right? We had a large range lower, then we had some small range candles. And so I don't know, man. It's hard to say. If I was bullish, I would want to start seeing expansion higher. Because we've had enough candles already. We came down. These two bodies respected it, right? The lower end of this imbalance. So if we're bullish, then this should take off from here. You know? Like it should start trading higher now. If it is bullish, in my opinion. Could you repeat that again? But repeat what? What did you miss? And I looked at treasury bonds earlier too. I don't really think they did a lot. Ugh. Ugh. Mm-mm-mm. I'm just looking to see if there's anything over here. And I'm just not liking anything over there for treasury bonds. Kind of just gross in my opinion. I don't really trade treasury bonds either. I've looked at them before and I've used them in reference like for the indices, but I haven't done that in a while. So we'll continue to give this a little bit more time. But I'll probably end the stream here in like 20 minutes or so. When you're talking about liquidity and where's in areas of high interest, oh, well, you may have to just rewind. I mean, we're still live, so you could, you know, scroll back 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and that's probably what I would do if it was me. But I'm going to put out a video fairly soon on liquidity. I mean, it won't be like a brand new video for a lot of y'all, but for some people it might be. I've already made a thumbnail and the PowerPoint. Now I just have to record it and edit it. So, but I got to get lunch first. Got to get lunch first. Know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, since I've got at least almost 30 of you here, and Prime, you can ask whatever you want. If you have seen my YouTube videos, which one was your favorite? Let me know. Let me know which one is your favorite and why it's your favorite. I would greatly appreciate that. Oh, man. All right, so the overall picture is still about this, okay? But yeah, that morning trade would have been done. Would have been blessed. Would have been blessed. So I went down aggressively before lunch and I left a big 5-minute imbalance. What's the question there? What about this imbalance here? Like this. Which was a little bit different on the other indices. Because NASDAQ traded to the higher end of that. The other indices did not. Right, like there's still a lot of that here. And the Dow is still, you know, still has some as well. But yeah, again, we've reacted, at least on the Dow, we've reacted off of that potential mitigation. But if this starts to push back up and above that high, easily be able to trade into that. And then again, if the indices are bullish, if we end up rocketing this afternoon, that might be on the upside. 31 or 33 150. But what was the question on that? Why aren't the lows your priority? Mean, why is the morning session high your target? Well, I'm saying if we are bullish, that's my upside target. 12,200 for the NASDAQ. I made the case a little bit earlier in this video. I don't know if you were here for it. There was some lows here on the other indices, okay? So NASDAQ has traded higher here, okay? And the S&P and the Dow were both lower at that same time period. So we ended up getting something like that. So when we reacted off of this, what we actually were watching earlier was this potential mitigation. Okay. And so we looked at this like that might be a buy, but we spent a lot of time there and then price trades lower. We watched this down candle, which it did happen to respect. We've rallied. And then we started watching this imbalance, which again, it's spending a lot of time here. I think if it's going to be bullish, it should rally. And since it's not doing that, I might be wrong and we may just end up just massively trading lower. Okay. So that was, hopefully that answers your question. The idea of shorting at 12,120 was negated due to the NASDAQ not wanting to trade lower. Then we got another divergence in here. So I figured, okay, we might be under accumulation. So if we are, then we're going to run potentially and trade above the morning's high. Okay. Like That was the idea. But again, I don't know what time you came in here, but we're in the middle of a range right now, and my accuracy goes down a lot when we're in the middle of a range like that. We're getting a decent reaction off of this. There's like a little gap right there. But, you know, that's one thing about futures price action. It does a lot of like weird shit like this. Like, you see how price closes and then opens here? There's like a small gap right there. Price does tend to come back into that like this. But it does that a lot. So like I wouldn't just outright trade like every single one of these, but like it does that shit a lot. If you just like really look at the candlesticks and stuff. And that's kind of what price is reacting off of right now is what I'm saying. There's like a small gap right there. It's just hard to mark, you know? Now, sometimes those can be the fucking greatest entries, you know? But sometimes I overlook that a little bit. But again, that's just another thing that you can study. Go in there and study it. You know, and this is just a 5 minute. It really happens a lot on like 1 minute and stuff. And even other time frames. Let me see something real quick. See, it did that here too. But it did overshoot that a little bit. See this like gap right here? Price comes into that. Right there. See what I'm saying? What the fuck? Right here. And I just noticed that the music has been off. See if we can get that back going. That gap right there. So price does that shit a lot. But and again, I'm not saying that, you know, that I would long that. I was just saying price is reacting off of that. Okay. Now, if you get something like that with an overlapping concept, oh, blessed. Big blessed. Like right here. Okay. It's kind of hard to see, but so, and not that I would recommend that this was a long opportunity, but I'm just saying if you look at the price action here, you see how you have that gap right there? That like gap right there also is just above this down candle here. So like that's a nice area of confluence. Now I wasn't bullish at that particular price point, but look what it did. It reacted pretty nicely from that. You know what I mean? So like those can be good entries. So, all right, I'll give you my final thoughts, and then we'll hop off of here in a couple minutes. Okay. Let me turn this down slightly. Just like I said earlier this morning, I'm not confident in either direction. Okay. Now, if my original idea is correct, I'll just take everything off. If my original idea is correct and we're going to 12,048, I might look to see if price, if we break this low, how do we break it? Right? If we do that aggressively, then this may end up becoming a mitigation later on. Okay. So what I'm saying is if we just bust this low, trade back into this orange box, it may just end up shitting the bed and doing something like that. Okay. Again, if my original idea is correct, and we won't know until later on. Okay. Or if my original idea is not correct and we trade higher, then we'll go higher. So, but I'll leave that for you guys to take a look at. for the rest of today. Oh shit, we aggressively traded lower. Not bad. Now we're getting some movement. See, remember earlier I said if this imbalance is going to be respected, we should start, you know, seeing higher pricing. If we're not, we're going to likely trade lower. And then look at that. We got no upside. It spent a lot of time there. And then what do you know? Trades lower. You know what I mean? So hopefully these like little things and little nuances and ideas and shit, hopefully it helps. Have been very helpful. Appreciate that, Naruto. Your market reviews, yeah, I like the market reviews are fun. They're old, but it's like it's studying price and all that. So appreciate the kind words, Prime. What pairs of those can you go through your watch list? Nico, I'm not going to go through my entire watch list. These are the indices. This is actually NASDAQ. This is the NASDAQ futures. These are the micro NASDAQ futures, actually. Okay. First time tuning in live. Oh, appreciate that, Marco. Well, we've been live almost 2 hours, so we're actually gonna hop off of here, but encourage you to check out some of the other videos. Check out some of those other videos, and for this afternoon, I'll leave you guys with this. Have your NASDAQ chart, whatever it may be. If you have equal lows down in here, put an alert on that. Just put an alert there. Okay, we might get that, we might not, I don't know. All I'm saying is put an alert there. With this candle that just opened, if we trade lower, we have a small imbalance right here too, possibly. Again, everything is hypothetical. Everything is a possibility. Nothing is guaranteed. The only guaranteed thing I can tell you is that you'll take a loss. Okay, so don't press any buttons. Don't live trade. We're just watching price. Okay, S&P to 39.75. Oh, 75. Oh, I did see that earlier, but I definitely lost confidence. I mean, it depends. If we rip ass, it could. It could. If I was in a short from this morning, I'd hold for the rest of the afternoon, 100%. If I was in a short from up there, oh, I'd definitely hold into the close. I definitely would hold into the close. Or at least try to. Sometimes, you know, I tell myself I'm going to do something, then I get fucking impatient, or I look at the P&L and I go, I'll just take it. But given the price action, I think this is likely to trade lower. So my original idea thing could be on the table, 12,048. So I'm either going to be right or I'm either going to be wrong. But y'all be blessed. Y'all have an amazing rest of your day. I will see you in the next one on Friday. Look, the schedule has not been posted yet officially. Okay, so next week we'll go live 4 times a week, but this week is just today and then Friday. So y'all be blessed. I'll see you in the next one.